Welcome, welcome to Mount Olympus, the only round table in all of creation worth its salt. Today we tackle one of the great myths, Pandora and the box, or jar. We'll get to that.
Oh, we are doing this one today. How brave of you, Zeus, to choose the myth where you come out looking the worst.
I think it's a great topic. The sea was involved, you know. Pandora was made partly of water, my domain. So really this is half my story.
Everything ends up half your story somehow. I came all the way up from the underworld for this. By the way, the dead can wait an hour.
And we are so glad you did, all of you. Now, we have guests today, and I want them to feel welcome. Come, sit. There's bread and honey at your end of the table.
The hearth is lit for everyone here, even those who haven't been to Olympus in a very long time.
Indeed, joining us, the Titan Prometheus, the famous fire thief, his brother Epimetheus, and the woman herself, Pandora. Try to behave, all of you. That goes for the gods, too.
Fire thief. You always lead with that. I prefer fire giver, but you keep the microphone, so...
Hello. Thank you for having us. I don't usually do this sort of thing. Talking in front of gods.
Hello, everyone. I've waited a very long time to actually tell this from my side. So thank you, truly.
And before we get one sentence further, let us establish whose idea this whole disaster was. Look to my left, everyone, the man with the laurel.
It was a response, Hera, not an idea. The fault here lies entirely with Prometheus. He started it. I merely concluded it.
Started it! The mortals were freezing in the dark, Zeus. You'd hidden fire from them out of spite. So one night, I climbed to the heavens and stole a single ember inside a fennel stalk. I carried that ember down the mountain and gave it to humankind. And suddenly they had warmth, light, cooked food, forges. Everything came from that one stolen coal.
You stole from the gods. That fire was not yours to give. There are rules, Prometheus. I am the rules.
To be fair, the mortals genuinely were freezing. I was receiving them in droves. Cold is a slow, miserable way to arrive in my kingdom. The fire actually slowed my intake.
See, this is what nobody appreciates. When mortals are warm and fed, they build ships. They sail my seas. Prometheus basically expanded my whole portfolio.
Poseidon, not everything is a business opportunity for you. But yes, the point stands. Giving cold people fire is not a crime worth what came next.
Oh, but the punishment was elegant. That's what people miss. I didn't simply smite them. Anyone can smite. I devised something far more sophisticated. I commanded Hephaestus to take clay and water and craft a being, a woman fashioned by the hands of every god, more beautiful than any creature yet made, a gift to mankind.
You made a person as a weapon, Zeus. Let's not dress it in gift. You built a living woman for the express purpose of ruining people.
I remember the forge, sort of. The warmth of the kilns, the gods leaning over me, each one pressing something into me. A gift, they called them. I didn't ask to be made.
And every one of us contributed. That's the part Zeus glosses over. This was a group project, godly committee work at its finest.
Athena taught me weaving and crafts. Aphrodite gave me grace and longing. The graces hung gold around my neck. The hours crowned me with spring flowers.
And Hermes gave her a voice, a name, and a certain cleverness, a talent for persuasion. It was a complete package, you see. Flawless craftsmanship.
Let's be honest about what Hermes gave her, Zeus. Cunning, yes, but also lies and a flattering tongue. Your instruction, not his idea. You ordered deceit sewn into her.
I noticed that no one in all this crafting gave her the one thing she'd actually need. No one gave her a choice. She was given everything except consent.
That's exactly it, Hestia. They poured gifts into me and a purpose I never agreed to. I opened my eyes already holding someone else's plan.
And then I sent her down to earth. specifically to the house of Epimetheus. Lovely fellow, not the sharpest, but lovely.
My brother had warned me. Many times he sat me down and said it plainly, looking right at me.
I told him, Epimetheus, whatever happens, never accept a gift from Zeus. Send it back. Don't even open the door. I knew Zeus too well to think any gift came free.
And then Pandora arrived at my door, radiant, smiling, sent as a gift. And I forgot the warning entirely, completely. The moment I saw her, it just left my head.
His name literally means afterthought, for those keeping notes at home. Prometheus is forethought. Epimetheus is the brother who realizes things afterward.
Wait, so forethought and afterthought as brothers? That's almost too neat. That's the kind of thing I'd put in the sea and call symbolism.
Afterthought married trouble. Honestly, it writes itself. No offense intended, Pandora. The trouble was assigned to you, not chosen by you.
She was a young woman placed into a stranger's home by the king of the gods. Let's keep remembering that. She had no map for any of this.
And she did not arrive empty-handed. With her came a jar. A large sealed jar given by the gods with strict instructions never to open it.
A jar, not a box. Let the record show. For 3,000 years, everyone has said Pandora's box. And it was a jar. A pythos. Get it right.
That was a translator's error, Hera. Some monk centuries later mistranslated pythos as pyxis. That's not on me. I am not responsible for medieval Latin.
It's true, it was a storage jar, a big clay one. We use the same kind down below for souls, occasionally. Roomy, surprisingly good acoustics.
They set it in the middle of the house, lid bound and sealed with wax, and they told me, never ever open this. That was the entire instruction. No reason, just never.
Who gives someone a gift they are forbidden to open? That's not a gift. That's a trap with a bow on it. The cruelty is in the design.
It was a test of obedience, Demeter, a simple one. Leave the jar closed. That's all anyone had to do. How hard is do not open the jar?
But you didn't simply leave a jar, Zeus. You placed a forbidden thing in front of a person you had specifically built to be curious. That isn't a test. That's a sentence.
There it is. Hestia said in one breath what I've been circling for an hour. You don't test someone with the exact flaw you installed in them.
And I want you all to understand what those days were like. I lived beside that jar. I swept around it. I ate beside it. Every single day it sat there, sealed, silent. And the wondering, it wasn't a small thing. It was placed in me like a coal of my own. The curiosity grew louder than my own thoughts. It was unbearable.
Yes, fine. I gave her curiosity. I'll admit that much. A lively, inquisitive mind. It's a virtue, normally.
So you built the bomb, you lit the fuse, and you handed it to her with a note that said, "Please don't." And then you act astonished by the explosion.
She was set up to fail, completely and deliberately. A child told not to think of the one thing they cannot stop thinking about.
Okay, enough build-up. I've been patient. That's not even my strong suit. What was in it? Tell us what was in the jar already.
One evening, alone, I couldn't bear it any longer. I knelt by the jar. I worked the wax loose with my fingers, and I lifted the lid, just a crack, just to look. And it tore the lid out of my hands. A black wind roared up out of that jar. Shapes, screaming things, a whole storm of them pouring out into the sky and the world.
And here is the part where it becomes my problem, because every single thing that flew out of that jar eventually made its way down to me. Everyone. Disease, toil, old age, violence, grief, famine, and the big one, death, walking among mortals freely now. Before that jar, my kingdom was practically a waiting room. After, it was a city.
Sickness and sorrow loosed on every household, forever. Mothers burying children. That is what came out of your elegant punishment, Zeus.
Hold on. Were storms in there? Tempests? Because storms are mine. If storms came out of that jar, then I deserve a credit, or at least an apology for the trademark infringement.
Poseidon, a torrent of the world's suffering escapes to plague all of humanity, and your concern is whether you get billing on the weather.
I'm just saying, I have a brand to protect. I'm relevant. I caused the earthquake that swallowed an entire coastline once. People remember me, thank you.
May I remind everyone that before all this, the world was perfect. Mortals lived without illness, without labor, without death, a golden age, until the jar.
Perfect? You'd already flooded the entire earth at least once because mortals annoyed you. Don't sell me a golden age, Zeus. I was there. I have receipts going back eons.
The flood was a necessary cleansing, and it's not relevant to today's myth, so I won't be dragged into... We are discussing the jar, Hera.
I threw myself at it. I grabbed the lid, I shoved it back down with everything I had, but they were already gone, all of them out into the world. I was too late. And yet, when I finally got the lid back on, the jar wasn't empty. There was something still inside, something faint, a small light at the very bottom. It was hope, the last thing in the jar, trembling there at the bottom, glowing, the only thing that didn't escape into the world with the rest.
Hope remained. I've always thought that was the most important word in the whole myth, and the one everyone argues about most.
Hope trapped in a jar, kept away from the people who need it. Very comforting. Truly a heartwarming end to the story.
That's the genuine debate, though, isn't it? Was hope kept safe for humanity inside that jar, or was it withheld from them, sealed away where they couldn't reach it?
I left them hope as a mercy. Yes, a mercy. After all the troubles flew out, I ensured hope stayed behind, so mortals would never be entirely without it. That was kindness.
Or you trapped hope under the lid so they could see it, but never quite hold it. Which, knowing you, brother, seems the more likely arrangement.
You always assume the cruelest reading, Hades. Sitting down there in the dark, festering. It's a wonder you were invited.
No, let him speak. Hope in the dark is something I happen to know about, better than anyone at this table. When my Persephone was taken from me into the underworld, hope was the only thing I had. I searched the whole earth holding nothing else. So don't lecture me on what hope is worth.
Demeter, we don't have to do this here. There are guests. The Persephone matter was a separate arrangement.
An arrangement. You of all gods, Hades, lecturing about things kept inside jars they can't escape? You took my daughter the same way Zeus took Pandora's whole life, without asking.
That is a deeply unfair comparison, and you know the negotiated terms. 6 months. We have a custody schedule. It's very civil now.
Let's set that down gently, both of you. It's an old wound, and it isn't tonight's. But notice, even here, the conversation keeps circling back to who took what, and who never got to choose.
And that is my whole point. None of this began with Pandora. It began because mortals were punished for a gift I gave them. She was the instrument. I was the cause.
And you did not escape punishment either, Prometheus. Let's not paint you a martyr. You suffered for what you did, considerably.
Considerably. You chained me to a mountain at the edge of the world. Bare rock, screaming wind, no shelter, no end in sight. And every day an eagle came and tore out my liver and ate it. And every night it grew back so the eagle could return at dawn and do it again. For generations. That was my considerably.
Every time. The liver part gets me right here. I've seen shipwrecks I felt less queasy about.
I will say it, even though it pains me to side with a titan over my own husband. Even I thought that was excessive, Zeus. And my bar for excessive is famously high.
It was proportionate. He stole the secret fire of the gods and gave it to lesser beings. There has to be a deterrent, or everyone's robbing Olympus by Tuesday.
And for the record, it didn't even last. Heracles came along eventually, shot the eagle, broke the chains, freed him. So all that cruelty and you didn't even keep the win. Spoiler, by the way.
Meanwhile, I got Pandora, and the troubles, and the blame, and none of the heroics. The afterthought brother who let the world's sorrows in. That's my whole legacy.
Epimetheus, do you blame me? You can say it. Everyone else has, for thousands of years. You'd be allowed.
No, Pandora, I don't. You were built to open it. You were made curious on purpose by gods, and then handed the very thing you couldn't resist. How is that your fault?
There it is, the first kind and true thing said about Pandora in 3 millennia, and it comes from the afterthought. Maybe he thinks more clearly than anyone gave him credit for.
A man at this table taking responsibility instead of assigning it. Write the date down. I want it carved into a column. This is historic.
I take responsibility constantly. I take responsibility for the sky, the thunder, justice itself. I simply decline to take it for her hand on the lid.
Then let me ask the simple question, since everyone keeps answering around it. Who truly opened the box? Let's each answer honestly. Zeus, you first.
Pandora. She lifted the lid. Her hand, her choice, her jar. Simple. Next.
You built her, flawed her, forbade her, and watched. The hand was hers, the trap was yours. You, Zeus.
Everyone. A little. That's the honest answer and the most uncomfortable one, which is why no one likes it. Every god in that forge holds a thread of it.
Me. I lit the first spark of all of it the night I came down that mountain. I'd do it again, but I won't pretend the chain of blame doesn't start at my hand.
And me. My hand turned the lid. I won't deny that. Whatever you all decide about why, it was my hand. I've never run from that part.
And that, all of you answering differently, all of you partly right, that is the actual lesson of this myth. Not a woman ruined everything, but blame is rarely owned by only one pair of hands.
And yet for 3,000 years, mortals tell it as her fault alone. The woman gets the name on the jar. The men who made and forbade and provoked get to narrate.
Well, it is called Pandora's box. Branding is branding. You can't fight a good title. Believe me, I've tried to rename a few things.
And there's the most honest thing you've said all episode, Zeus. You'd rather keep the catchy title than tell the true story. That, in one sentence, is your entire reign.
I just want to circle back. I still maintain some of those storms were structurally my storms. I'm not letting it go. I'll bring it up next episode too.
We know, Poseidon, we all know. There is no body of water, real or metaphorical, that you won't claim. It's almost admirable.
Can I say one last thing about the hope? Because everyone debates whether it was kept for us or from us. But I was the one who saw it, and I'll tell you, it stayed.
She's right. Of all the things that could have flown away, hope is the one that didn't. After everything I gave them, fire, knowledge, maybe that's the gift that actually lasted. Defiance in a small glowing form.
I've made my peace with my name, I think. Afterthought. Maybe the world needs someone who learns the hard way and admits it. Someone has to remember, so the next door gets answered better.
Pandora, whatever you walk out of here believing, you were a young woman handed an impossible thing by gods who should have known better. The fault was never only yours. Remember that.
Agreed. And Zeus, before you wrap this up with some grand, self-congratulating speech, and you will try, know that I'll be fact-checking every word in real time.
I would never. I'll simply say this. The myth endures because it's true to something. Curiosity, consequence, hope, and a wise king who left a little light in the dark.
Or a frightened young woman who found the light at the bottom of a jar after everything else had gone. Both can be true. That's why the story lasts.
Well, I have a great many new arrivals to process thanks to that jar. Eternal backlog. So this has been productive. Lovely seeing what caused all my overtime.
Great episode, everyone. And remember, the sea remembers all of it, the warmth and the storms alike. Mostly the storms, which were mine.
Thank you truly to our guests, Prometheus, Epimetheus, Pandora. You've carried this story long enough alone. It was good to share the weight tonight.
Thank you for letting me speak. After 3,000 years, just being heard, that feels a little like the hope I found in the jar. Quiet, but real.
I'll take the fire I gave them over the gratitude I never got. Worth it? Every flame still burning down there started with me. Good night, gods.
Thank you. I'll try to remember this one at least. Forethought. Just this once.
And that is our episode. Pandora, the jar, the fire, and the hope at the bottom. I'm Zeus, king of the gods. And yes, I'll be opening next week's myth too, so do behave.
The hearth stays lit until then, for gods, for titans, for mortals, and for whoever